So, I'm back, and as you may have seen in one of my second last video, based on when this comes up or goes out, you may have seen this. It is Sephiroth sword, as I said. Now, you may be asking, based on things I've said and done before, why am I holding it in reverse grip? That's because, well, you can't really carry any other way comfortably. Basically, based on it, technically his is slightly longer. No, I reckon his is slightly longer, but mine's somewhat proportional if you scale him down to my height. But let's say you are trying to carry something like this. You can't. I don't have a belt on. There's no real way. Okay, I need to come out here. There's no real way to walk around like this. If you try turning at all, everyone's getting hit, and hitting shorts, sheath of your sword, say that 10 times fast, is quite bad because it can damage both your sheath, sword, and can annoy or get other things going which you don't want happening. So, like with the long swords of history, such as this Zweihander Montantes, where having sheath on them was a thing, but it was more for storage and travelling purposes. So, what people would do, we wouldn't really use these unless you were a bodyguard and you would only use this. Because the things with like kanabos and naganatas, especially on the battlefield, is you still had a katana. Usually one shorter, or the normal length of a katana based on your own proportions, or what weapon you're using, or your style. You'd still have one as the backup option. But for something this big, and you see it a lot more with the kanabo rather than the spear, where you're doing these big attacks, having your sword caught on a katana there can be quite bad. It'll interrupt your attack and your flow of momentum, but you could still carry a shorter one, like the little brother. I don't know its name in Japan. I'm not Japanese. Look at me. Maybe don't. But the point is, you can't really carry this on the hip. So, as I said earlier with swords, you would just carry it as is. Sure, you could have the sheath on, but you would just carry this as it is, because this way you can maneuver it. But for someone like Sephiroth, due to how big he is and the setting, he has no use for the sheath, because swords in Final Fantasy just they don't get damaged unless for plot relevance. But fortunately, these do get damaged. But one thing I would like to bring up, especially in the case of reverse grip, is every weapon system, mainly swords or other sword-like weapons, has a use for reverse grip. It's just, most of them are very single-use case. Now for Sephiroth's case, with a sword this big, it kind of works, but how he draws the sword is he goes there and then swings into normal, in which he, like, would use a sword from reverse grip. But one thing that I should preface, I am not like into Yaido or anything, not Yaido, the katana stuff. I'm just a nerd. One thing that does get brought up for the sake of reverse grip is drawing, and this also happens in, I believe, Chinese and the more straight sword of Europe ones. You do get trained to draw on reverse grip, but that's because it is easier if the screw is to the right length than it is there, because you have to turn your hand inward to draw. But with this, it's just over, out. But the thing is, what most people in mainly media get wrong about this is it isn't a draw and then attack. It is more draw. You can either try and defend there by swinging your other arm out to here, or just presenting that attack, and then you swap here. It is that quick, short defense and presence of a threat that you quickly turn into more of a threat, or it is simply just to show off the sword. But in the sake of katanas, due to their use and error, you wouldn't ever just show it off. For the sake of long swords, bastard swords, and those ones, you could draw it in reverse grip to show it off, hand off to someone, but katanas not so much. Another thing I note that, especially with a sword like this, is you have this long handle as well as long blade, but due to that is what you can use it like a katana with those big strikes. Due to its size, it's almost like a spear of sorts, where because of its length, you can still do these big thrusts. Yeah, right. But another thing I noticed, especially when swinging, is it's almost like the other great swords you see. Lengthwise, it is a little short, but due to its handle and blade length, you can still do all the big flourishing attacks of great swords. But one downside of it is due to how katanas are made, the back edge can be rather brittle, I believe, and the front edge is very soft and dents easily. So, kind of like what an actual knight would use those big moves for, you don't actually attack with them so much with this. It is more the presence of the threat of coming into this area will get you hurt. Perk of doing it with this Y-hander is you have both blades, question mark, but both the blades can deal with having hit like that. If I'm, out here doing this, and I forget which side, and I come to do this, using the back edge of the sword, there is a good chance I will throw the attack, it'll connect, and the sword might break or get damaged. That can, it's not good. But it almost works like the great katanas I have, where as long as you keep your opponent at the range of the sword where they can't hit you, it works having that long length. Because they have every length, what am I talking about? Anyways, that's it for this one. Unfortunately, I haven't mastered gravity magic yet, nor am I 7 foot tall with long white hair, which I'd totally love to be, nor am I fighting a blonde twink with a massive sword. Just right there, but I'm not willing to show you guys that. Anyways, I'll catch you later.